Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Kathy Hobbs. It is arguably one of the most ambitious development projects in the history of New York City. Pacific Park, formerly known as Atlantic Yards in Brooklyn. Now it is finally taking shape. Our Brooklyn real estate expert, Donald Brennan of Brennan Real Estate, introduces us to Pacific Park. Hi, Donald.
Thanks, Kathy. By nearly all accounts, the Barclays Center is a beacon in downtown Brooklyn, a sign of immense revitalization and growth. It is also a major part of a grand plan known as Pacific Park, 22 acres right here in the heart of Brooklyn. The development company Forest City Radnor is the driving force, and today we have the honor of learning more about the plans for Pacific Park. Pacific Park, formerly known as the Atlantic Yards, is a project involving the redevelopment of 22 acres in downtown Brooklyn, near the Atlantic Terminal. After years of community resistance, the project is now in full swing. Now, this is a very large development site. Can you explain what's going on here?
Well, a lot's going on here. This is Pacific Park, Brooklyn. We're fortunate to be working on such a big development site, which has a lot of different types of buildings, a lot of different types of apartments for a really different, a broad swath of the community, mixed income, condos, rentals. So what's underway right now are 6 apartment buildings. We built the Barclays Center first, and then we started with some of the buildings around that and some of the buildings further down here on Vanderbilt, closer to Dean Street. And again, they're in varying stages of construction. And a bunch of them are open, and there's apartments to be lived in. So there's a lot going on. And underneath what these are, these lucite models here sort of speak to kind of the future phase. Right now there's a lot of infrastructure work going on down there to rebuild the storage yard for the Long Island Railroad. See from the scale of the model here as well as the map here, it's a big site. And one of the things that's so engaging for us about it is it's the center of Brooklyn. We're really building out a site that didn't have nearly this density, but yet sat on top of 11 subway lines. To build it out to be something that's a little bit more spectacular, that has that sense of place to it. So not only is it 22 acres on the whole, there's 8 acres of public open space that we are designing to weave throughout the project, and it's phased in with the buildings. And you can see that in the green patches within the model. But the complexity beyond that was staggering. I mean, just assembling the site, working to buy people, to buy properties to assemble, to build to buy a basketball team and move them here and build an arena on top of what is the 3rd largest transit hub in New York. We're rebuilding the rail yard of the Long Island Railroad and the platform where a lot of these future buildings go. So, just building in this context, and down here at the center of Brooklyn has been a tremendous challenge, and it's taken us some time to get where we are, but where we are now is, I think, pretty exciting, as we'll see when we go see the buildings today.
Beyond the Barclays Center, Pacific Park includes 8 acres of public open space, 250,000 square feet of retail space, and more than 6,000 residential units, a mix of rentals and condominiums.
So this is a mixed income rental building, so it has half affordable rentals, half market rate rentals, and they're all leasing and people are moving in right now. Moving down to the opposite side is 550 Vanderbilt. We're standing in the sales center for that now. That's a condo. Those are condos that are on the market right now, and people will be moving in soon. Other buildings that are under construction include 2 buildings that are 100% affordable. And so that's part of, that was something we developed with the mayor when he came into office, sort of develop a program to bring a wide range of incomes, up to very high middle incomes and then down to low incomes, to sort of work with the fact that there's just incredible demand for people across the spectrum. The middle class doesn't really have places to live in New York anymore. The affordability was a major component of getting the project plan approved. This was a project that's developed in partnership with the state of New York. So the affordability component that's required is 2,250 units. So it was up to us as the developer to work through how best to phase them and where to put them. And so what we decided to do was, our first building out of the ground was half and half. Our next buildings out of the ground, we went to 2 all affordable buildings and 1 condo that's selling now and another one that's underway. And the idea is that it's really to create something for everybody, and that's why it's really spread throughout. And that's also our company's philosophy. So it wasn't a hard thing for us to do. We believe that that's the way that you build successful cities, and this is the scale of it is a small city.
For Pacific Park to come this far has been more than a decade in the making. New York State approved the project's master plan in 2006. The project renamed Pacific Park in the summer of 2014.
It's hard to see that. With construction above grade, you can see what changes day to day.
Sure.
But the rail yard is sort of this invisible thing to the community in the sense that it's hard to see the progress,
yeah.
But there's been a tremendous amount of work. So Donald, we're at 461 Dean, which is one of the first buildings to open at Pacific Park. Again, it's part of this larger master plan. And this is the first rental building to open. And one of the things I wanted to show off when we're in these units is how much attention to detail we paid with the architect to a lot of the finishes. So, starting from the outside in, we really worked with them to bring a lot of light in. The views are phenomenal, so we wanted to have huge picture windows, oversized windows to help bring that in. And then, the flooring, the finishes, the bathroom, the kitchen cabinets, just the coloring for the way that it all worked. We really spent an enormous amount of time just making it right. And we've heard a lot of feedback from people who are out looking at other apartments in the neighborhood right now, and they're all giving positive feedback in the sense that these look better than anything else out.
A very unique studio. Can you explain the construction technique?
This building is a modular building. It's the tallest of its kind, the tallest modular building in the world. And what we mean by that is that the building was fabricated off-site in volumes, and then pieces were brought here and assembled. So think of it a way in terms of what can fit on top of a truck. It's not a shipping container, but it's an apartment. And it had to be transited here from the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which is about 1.5 miles away. And so the apartment that we're standing in, one of the amazing features about this building and modular generally is that people think modular and they just think boxes piled up. Well, we're in a triangle. This unit was shaped out of 2 mods. So, from this wall over here about to where I'm standing here is 1 mod. It's about 15 feet wide and it had sort of an end cut off and it sat on the back of the trailer. Then from here back, we had another little pointy triangle mod, and putting those together on site was what we did. So the entire building is 363 apartments. There's actually 930 modules were trucked here and then set in place. And then the work inside was to put the flooring down and make those connections disappear. And I think that what we're most proud about right now is that you can really start to understand the promise of the project and what the project is supposed to be. Because with people living here, a lot of large, attractive residential buildings up, you really see what it was always intended to be and what it will be going forward.
Pacific Park is one of the most ambitious development projects in New York City history. After some early setbacks, the former Atlantic Yards finally seems to be on track. I'm Donald Brennan of Brennan Real Estate. Back to you, Kathy.
Thanks, Donald. What an interesting look at Pacific Park. It's actually really fascinating to see it finally take shape. We'll be right back.